Friday Flow. Here we go. So, yesterday's video was actually very fascinating to me because, I was talking about an epiphany that I had in regards to just like realizing that in any moment of life, I can choose to be whoever I want to be however I want to be whatever I want to, right? Um, and I referenced, this whole thing of it's just about choosing to do things differently. This is where change happens. It's about choosing to do things differently. Um, and so, like, I really kind of just, like, stepped into that space of awareness. And I went to a weekly open mic night that I go to. I don't always go to it, but, I go to it sometimes. And I was kind of, like, presented with an opportunity to perform. And I just felt like it was kind of like full circle, the universe, like, like coming back around, being like, okay, you want to do things differently? Here you go. And I did it. I performed. I rapped to a song of one of my favorite bands, and what was so interesting about I've heard of this whole thing of like turning fear into excitement, or that fear is actually just excitement, but it's really just a matter of like I think that the reason that I've felt fear before in my life is because I feel like I'm stepping into the unknown. But it's okay to step into the unknown. It's actually really good to step into the unknown because in the unknown is nothing but potential, right? And so like I continue to sit with this energy of all you have to do is something different. All you have to do is go with the change in direction. That's it. That's all there is to it. And as I really sit with this, I understand more and more what it means. And there is this theme of running as fast as you possibly fucking can towards what it is that you want to create with no distractions, right? And as I look at my life, what I realize is that I've had nothing but distractions. I've spent more time with distractions than I have running towards what it is that I want to create. And as I really look at this, I see that the reason why I've been so distracted is because it's familiar and comfortable, but also like I was talking about in yesterday's video, I have been challenged. I don't know if that's the right way to approach this. I guess I'll just say it's been very challenging for me to make decisions because I overthink things. Meanwhile, when I finally make a decision, I realize how actually unimportant it is. Like, it's like my mind likes to, like, put this, like, drastic and absurd amount of importance around things when they're really just not that important at all. Like, they're irrelevant. And the more I make decisions, the more I see how irrelevant this level of importance my mind has tried to create things out to be. It's bullshit. It's not accurate. And so I was listening to a guy on social media talk about how you can make a decision in a year. I mean, I guess that's quite a long time. You could also make a decision in months, or a month, or a week, or a day. And he's like, the person that can make a decision in a day can go a lot faster than the person that makes a decision in a week or a month or months or a year. And as I really sit with it, the reason why this is so important is because as I really sit with it, I realize that like I can make decisions faster. As long as I realize that the gravity, the level of importance that I'm placing on the gravity that comes with the situation, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, I've looked at all of the decisions that I've made throughout my life. I've looked at the weight of importance and gravity that I've placed on them, and I've seen that I've just like it's kind of like when you put something on a pedestal. Like, nothing really belongs on a pedestal. Nothing is really that important or special, right? So when you take it off of the pedestal and you see it for what it is, you can realize that it doesn't actually hold the level of importance or gravity that you previously thought it did. And so therefore you can then make decisions more easily. Because it's kind of like it's like making a decision is kind of like breathing. Like, you don't really have to think that much about it. I mean, obviously you don't have to think about breathing unless you're like meditating or something. But this epiphany yesterday, I don't really normally do Friday flows like this, but I'm just gonna do it because I have more to say regarding yesterday's video that I made, because I just thought that it was so fascinating that like I had this epiphany regarding something that I had previously known about. Like what's so fascinating to me is that like if you sit with something for long enough, it might change color, it might change tint, it might change hue, it might change shape, right? It might start to look different if you look at something for long enough. So this thing that I've been looking at is this whole matter of two things. If you stop giving a fuck about distractions, you can run as fast as you possibly want to. Not only that, but also in any moment of life, yes, I get it, anxiety is real. However, in any moment of life, you can choose to be different. You can. And that's wild. Like, and I'm not really talking about sociology talks about like deviations and stuff, right? I'm not really talking about deviations. I'm just genuinely talking about like okay, say for instance, you're usually timid, right? If you go to a social setting or like a party or something like that, you can choose to not be timid. It might not be easy because you're stepping outside of what it is that's comfortable and familiar to you, but it's possible. And, something that I've thought about for years now, probably somewhere between like 5 and 10 years, is that if something is not impossible, that means that it's possible. And if it's possible, what needs to happen in order for it to be a reality? That's what I look at. Again, I'm not trying to get inspirational and motivational. I'm really just like looking at things as like realistic as possible. Like I could have chosen to let fear overtake my experience last night and not have performed at the open mic night, but I chose to do it despite the fear, and it was fine. So like, I just that's all there is to it. It's all about just choosing to do the thing that's different. The way that a person changes their life. And by the way, this doesn't happen overnight. It's interesting that I say that because, like, that's a belief in and of itself. And I'm doing the best that I can to really just, like, look at my beliefs for what they are and, challenge them and everything. You can go at anything as hard as you want to. Balance is important. But you can. Like, you can run as fast as you possibly want to in life. And that's what this epiphany is really helping me to see. It's like if I sit with something for long enough, it might change color. It might change something. Maybe the hue, maybe the shape. And there's more potential there. And I think that that's really cool. I think that that's exciting. So this is changing the way that I'm approaching things now, because it's like, well then, if I can run as fast as I can towards what it is that I want to create, which would get me there faster, make decisions faster and all that stuff, and all I have to do is step outside of comfort and familiarity, why wouldn't I do that? Distractions are just distractions. They'll always be there. They're kind of like that thing of like, hey, knocking on your door. I'm here. All I have to do is walk away from that.